Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Put.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Put. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome back to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? It's the 25th of September. We've made it to the end of yet another week. Right here, the 25th, our sun sign, which represents our conscious mind, is in Libra. Libra is a sign of balance, karmic balance. It's represented by the scales. If we take a look at the tarot card again that represents this, we have the tarot card of justice. Justice comes when we have balance. You know, all of our lives, every single person upon this planet has an opportunity to balance out their lives. When we hear the terms that we will be judged according to our deeds, well, those are words that describe karmic situations. As we do something, we get a response from it. It's the idea of the cause and the effect. So when we cause something to happen, there's an effect from it. So we will be judged by the universe according to what we do. Okay, so our own activities. So basically, we are in charge of what happens to us as far as on a small level. Of course, we have the universe, which is a bigger piece of the puzzle that we fit into, but each one of us are little drops. I like to think of ourselves as drops of God. Okay, in the same way that we have an ocean, which is the big expanse of the ocean, and you got a drop, which is a representation. That's what we all are. We're representations, little drops of God, and each one of us has the opportunity as a drop to be able to be responsible for ourselves. And that's the process, to learn how to be responsible for ourselves, and in the process of being responsible for ourselves, we can be responsible for others and other things. And that's the idea, to learn to grow more and more. But we also remember that as a drop, we're part of the bigger ocean. And so we learn to have responsibility for ourselves, because if we do, then the things that we affect through the causes that we create, they have a positive effect not only on our smaller world, but because everything corresponds to everything else, it has an effect on the bigger world as well. So therefore, this is very important. We all have the opportunity to have justice in our lives by our own opportunities, by the own way in which we apply justice to our lives. All right, then the moon phase, we could see last night here at 11:02 p.m. We went into a void of course phase, which means we went to the last phase of the moon. So the moon here was Aquarius. So let's look at the wheel here. So we have Aquarius right here, and it's going through the last phase, and this afternoon it's going to be moving from here, and it's going to cross from this house, because remember, each one of these is a house. It's going to cross from this house into the next house. The house it's currently in is the house of Aquarius. So the moon is in the house of Aquarius, and in the house of Aquarius it's dealing with issues of air, of words and actions, activities, and it's going to move from there into the house of Pisces, which is the house of water. Okay, and we could see that this transition takes place 2:43 p.m. where the moon moves into Pisces. So let's take a look at what are the representatives. We know that this is the card that represents Aquarius, the water bearer. Even though Aquarius is an air sign, we see the water because it just shows how things are fluid in life. And I'm going to show you some other examples of the fluidity of life, that everything is moving around. Now we're moving into this sign here, which is a water sign, and it's the sign of Pisces. Pisces is the symbol astrologically of two fish swimming in opposite directions. The reason they're swimming in opposite directions is because the emotions are pulling them one way and the emotions are pulling them the other way. And that's usually what happens to each one of us in life, that our emotions pull us in different directions. As we are able to walk the middle path and be able to understand our emotions better, we get pulled less and less in each direction. We're able to walk the middle path. So that's kind of what this is about here. We have a coming out of the water, which represents the fluid of life. We have a creature, the crab, the crustacean, a hard shell to protect itself from the emotions, like the chariot, come out of the water, and then we have a wolf, and then the wolf becomes the dog, which is a more domesticated animal, a little bit evolved differently. Doesn't mean it's a better animal or not, because we see wolves and we see dogs, and there's really only a difference in domestication that is there. I guess we can kind of apply that to people as well. We see all sorts of people on the earth. Some people are a bit more assimilated into peaceful life, and other people are a bit more violent and tribal in their way of life. And there's different varying degrees in between. So we have this stage of evolution where we go from an animal onto something a little bit more civilized. And then what we have here is we have these two pillars. These two pillars represent the unknown. Okay, everything up to the pillar, we know what's going on there. But once we get past the pillars, we don't know what's there. So therefore, the idea of what this card represents now comes into play. Because once you walk past those pillars, we have to rely upon our faith to move us through life. We don't know what's going to be past those pillars. So we look to the moon, which represents our subconscious mind. And as we know from the other images, our subconscious mind, ideally, should be focused on the higher self. If we're looking at the higher self, then the conscious mind, which is looking towards the unconscious mind, will be getting information from the higher self that will help us move along that path. And moving along the path, we'll understand that faith is what moves us along. Faith is not just some blind activity that we do. Faith is a powerful activity that we do because it requires a great amount of effort to have faith. Everybody who's exercising and practices faith from time to time, to whatever degree you do, you understand exactly what I mean. It takes no energy to not have faith. To be a doubter, there's nothing there. It's easy to doubt. That's why most of the people that we run into go into the phases of doubt, because there's no effort to that. That real effort comes in having faith and believing something. Because in that process of believing, let's take a look here. What is believing? Believing takes us into this world of mentalism. Belief affects and is part of the mentalism. So the principles, if we look and understand the 7 principles of Hermetic philosophy, everything comes back to there. That our world changes as we look at the world differently by applying what we've learned from the world. And since it's a mental world, a big mind, whatever we think, we're able to correspond with the rest of the world and affect it accordingly. Okay, that's why it's so important that each one of us are able to be responsible for ourselves, first and foremost, because that has a great deal of effect on the world around us. Okay, so that's what we're looking at there. Now, some of the aspects we're going to be dealing with over the course of today, after we get past the moon moving into Pisces, we have a opposition between the moon, Pisces, and Mars. So this opposition is going to come across right here. Here's Mars. And we can see Mars is in the house. It's crossing from the house of Leo into the house of Virgo. And directly across from it, when this moon moves across in Pisces, they're going to be directly across from each other. Okay, like on the teeter-totter. Remember, whenever we're in life, what's the idea of a teeter-totter? Why do we go on a teeter-totter? To play. So when we play, and we look at life from a playful situation, we have fun. What is a teeter-totter representative of? Balance. As long as both parties stay upon that teeter-totter, everything's great. But we all know from time to time somebody jumps off one end and then the other thing falls and hits the ground, and it's a different story. So we need to be able to understand that we have complete control over how we operate and act in the world simply by the way in which we associate with it, interact with it. So with this symbol here, the subconscious mind, Pisces, is emotions, and Mars is fire and energy that's charging forward. So we have fire and we have water. And fire and water are different. Fire can put out the water, water can put out the fire. Fire is ideas, water is emotions. And we want to balance out our ideas that are in our head with our emotions. We want to find a way to be able to understand that a little bit better. Then, as we move 10 minutes past that, we go into the next aspect, which is a square. Squares are lessons. So this is a lesson with our emotions and Saturn. Saturn is the planet of discipline. Saturn wants us to focus. If you think of discipline, discipline isn't always a punishment. Discipline can be another way of describing focus. When we do something in life, the more disciplined we are, the more focused we become, the more we're able to accomplish what it is we're trying to do, because some things require a great amount of focus and discipline. Let's say, for example, you're walking through a crowded store and you have lots of other people that are in the store and you need to get from point A to point B. And if you are not focused, you can get pulled in all directions as you're walking down the aisles. But if you're focused where you want to go, you get there. I don't know if that's the best example, but you get the idea of what I'm saying. We need to focus our energies, discipline our energies, and that's what it's all about. Saturn is the planet that is known as the planet that takes all of our energies and recycles them so that we can reuse them again. It disciplines, it helps us to focus more. So that's what's going on. We have this more focus and discipline coming up in a lesson. So we have to focus and discipline our emotions so they don't get out of control. Because our emotions, if they get out of control, they lead us in directions that really aren't the most beneficial for us. And 8:12 p.m. we have another aspect. This time Mars needs to be disciplined. So Mars is certainly being affected here as our emotions and Mars are in an opposition. And then later Mars has to go and learn some sort of lesson. So this afternoon we've got some things that we're going to have to deal with on a personal level that are all good, helping us to grow, evolve. All right. Now let's take a look at the Jewish calendar here to see where we're at. 12 Tishri is the name of today. We could see that we have Sukkot coming up very soon. Sukkot is the Feast of Tabernacles. It's the time when we commemorate the journey that Moses and the Israelites took through the desert. And what I think of it even more importantly is the time of Sukkot is a time when Jesus was born, around that time period. Jesus was not born in December. If you've been listening to the show long enough, then you understand that that's how it is. Jesus was not born in December. Most likely, he was conceived in December, and then he was born in September. All of these things can be found in the Bible because the Bible leaves us clues, because we know different characters, when Zechariah and when John, and all of those other characters around that time, we know when they were born and when they were in a temple, so we can backtrack and we can figure out that this is the time coming up of when Jesus, Yeshua, was born. So that's a very positive thing. And for those who are really wanting to know and appreciate more of what was going on with Yeshua, well, it's best that we understand when he was born. One reason I like to look at it, everybody has a birthday. And on everybody's birthday, don't you like to have people acknowledge it? Of course you do. And so that's the same idea. Jesus has a birthday. Yeshua has a birthday coming up. We should acknowledge it. If his birthday is not in December, what's the point? It's nice to say, hey, we're celebrating and, glad to remember you at that time, but everybody wants to remember their birthday at some time. If your birthday's in September and we don't honor it and don't acknowledge it till December, you might be a little bummed. So that's what we're doing. We're just acknowledging activities and events when they happen, trying to get a better grasp on the timeline of how things really evolve and so on and so forth. Okay? Let's take a further look at what's going on here with the Jewish calendar. The daily thought for today is called the returning light. In creating the whole of existence, God made forces that reveal him and the forces that oppose him. He made the light and he made the darkness. One who does good brings in more light. One who fails feeds the darkness. But the one who fails and then returns transcends that entire scheme. He reaches out directly to the essential creator beyond darkness and light, and so his darkness becomes light. Okay? Now, we're going to take a listen here to the Shofar again today, one more time, to wrap up this week. I know we didn't get the Shofar every single day, but we're listening to it today. Here we go. Alright, there you have it. There's the Shofar today. Now, I want to show you something. Remember a few moments ago I talked about how things are fluid. Life is fluid. Well, here's something very interesting in regards to the Jewish calendar. Let me bring this up for you here. This is a site called renewedmoon.com, and it talks about the calendar and the times coded and moving according to the cycles of the moon and what have you. And the new moon being very significant to when these particular dates happen. It says the first report of the new moon crescent came from Brisbane, Australia, Monday evening, September 14th, along with an additional Twitter report from an Australia-based observational group. Additionally, we have a report and photo from Indonesia, along with numerous eyewitness reports continuing westward. Sources from Israel reported no positive sighting and poor viewing conditions. However, visual confirmation was reported the following evening, September 15th. This delays the start of the month for those that follow an Israel-based restriction. Okay, so basically what it's saying is that these festivities, these various festivals upon the Jewish calendar, according to some restrictions, show that they don't actually start until there is confirmation in the sky about the various signs, the new moons and so on. So it shows that there is a slight delay in when things happened, and we have some nice graphs down here. But according to this, it shows that because there was a sighting, everything is kind of moved back a little bit. And it shows here then, says for 2015, Eye of the Barclay searches were confirmed in the 12th, with the first new moon appearing on Saturday evening. This makes the annual biblical appointed dates as follows. And it moves September 15th as the Day of Trumpets, Yom Kippur, and Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, beginning on the 24th through now, which means today would be Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. So you could see that there's some fluidity to what's going on, because if their calendar is being looked upon as set according to when the moon is in its various cycles, then we could see that there's a fluidity, and it kind of helps you understand who's in charge. Man's not in charge of the calendar. God is in charge of the calendar, of the timings. So quite possibly then, if we look and understand this properly, today would be Yom Kippur, and the dates and everything, move accordingly from there. So either way, this has been a week of atonement. Atonement being break the word down, atonement, to at one mint. What is the one mint we're at one with? The universe. Because at first we're told that everything was one, and then we separated into duality. And in that duality, we started to see the opposite aspects of who we are, and then the infighting began. When we stop the fighting and we forgive ourselves, and that forgiveness is like the wall that bridges and splits us apart. When we can forgive ourselves for that separation, we start to find ourselves back in unity again. And that's the important part. When we think about our minds, we're told we have two hemispheres of our brain. And if one is working one way and one's working the other way, we're, going in different directions. Kind of like the symbol of Pisces. Pisces, the fish. One swims one way, one the other. But when we find the ability to walk that middle path and balance them out, then two hemispheres are working together. The two aspects of polarities are working together, and we're much more effective in life. So this is a time of oneness. Whether it started on Monday or whether it's today, we're in that time frame. And that's one thing it seems to be with the timings in the Bible. Sometimes are not real specific. Sometimes the date isn't exactly when we down here think they are. Sometimes timings are a bit more fluid. And so this is just a good confirmation or reminder of that we look at the time periods themselves, and we don't necessarily have to pinpoint it down to the moment of saying this is exactly the moment when this begins, because we might not be accurate. But we can look at the time frame, which certainly we are. Now in the Mayan Oracle, we have a funny looking graph here. We could see that we are right here. A eagle for today. The eagle's all about vision. And it's a sixth tone. So the sixth tone is called the rhythmic tone. And whenever there's a sixth tone, the kin for the day and the guide are always the same. It's always the same when it gets to the 11th tone. So the 1, the 6th, and the 11th tone, the guide and the kin for the day are the same. So vision is guided by vision, and it's not just only vision, but rhythmic vision, the balance going back and forth, the rhythm that we follow in life. Right down here, a hidden power for today is the World Bridger. Wants us to understand that the passage between life and death is just a path. And like everything else, we're learning to balance it out, learning to walk that middle path so we understand what the whole process is and what the process isn't. Like-minded energy is our ability to allow ourselves to appreciate the flowering from the seeds we planted, and our challenge for today is our energy, how we use it, and so on. The phrase, I organize in order to create a balancing mind. I seal the output of vision with a rhythmic tone of equality, and I am guided by my own power double, because we have the kin and the guide are the same. The crescent moon phase is 91% of the way full. We're going to be at a full moon this weekend. And as a matter of fact, we have a supermoon coming up, and this will be the last supermoon until the year 2033. So supermoons, it says we'll be able to see a rare supermoon eclipse in the UK this Sunday, the 27th. The last one was 33 years ago in 1982, and the next one won't be until 2033. Interesting, these numbers here, isn't it? If we look from a numerological, that it's been 33 years, because we know 33 is a very important number in the numerological system. And then again, there's a 33 again. So there's something important within this. If we sit and meditate on it, we could understand for ourselves what that means. The supermoon will be visible all night, and the sky watchers in Europe and the UK can see the eclipse during the early hours of Monday morning. Total eclipse of the moon will begin at 3:11 British summertime. The main concern for moon viewers, apart from staying awake long enough, is the weather. The Met Office currently predicts cloudy skies for much of the UK on Sunday night in the early hours of Monday morning. If the weather doesn't cooperate with the area, then NASA will be live streaming the eclipse. Okay, this eclipse is also known as the blood moon, an apparent ominous term for the fourth lunar eclipse in a row with no partial eclipse in between. This term comes from Christian mythology, where it has apocalyptic overtones. Apocalyptic, remember what apocalypse means? Revealing, okay? To reveal. So the term says that this moon is going to reveal something. That's what it's all about. So we have the supermoon, We have that is a blood moon, and it's the last one we're going to have until 2033, and it's been 33 years since we've had one of these major supermoons like this. Okay? And space weather, solar wind is 451.8 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is quiet at a 2. You can see the coronal holes kind of smoothed over a bit. However, we do have a notification, 26, 27 this weekend. We are going to feel some effect from that. M probability staying steady at 25%. X class is 1. Geomagnetic storm activity 30% in the mid latitudes. In the high latitudes, it's up as high as 40%. And last, up in the sky tonight, this is what we're going to see. Okay. This is the image we're going to see up there. And the description says, look far below the moon this evening for first magnitude formal hut coming into view. It rises at late twilight. Algo should be at minimum brightness for a couple of hours, centered on 6:09 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay. So there you have it. That's our cosmic weather for today. A lot going on. A lot of things to see. So over the course of this weekend, we got the Sunday night, we've got the full moon. We've got the eclipse, which is a blood moon. And it's the 4th blood moon. So remember, we've had this tetrad that's been going on. And all the information about these blood moons. Well, this is the 4th one. And the thought is that after this 4th one, then there's going to be something revealed, because the apocalypse or the revealing is upon us as we speak. And all this is happening during the time of atonement, when we are looking to find oneness with ourselves and henceforth oneness with the universe as well. And how do we find the oneness? By removing the thing that keeps us separated, which is our ability to forgive. And oftentimes we just need to forgive ourselves for whatever issues is going on. And once we make that correction within ourselves, then everything runs smooth everywhere else, because, you know, it all starts within us. That's the whole process that the Creator made, that we, as little drops of God, have the ability to create and evolve and grow so that we can become part of the bigger ocean of God. All right, then there you have it. That's our cosmic weather for today. UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right. Thank you very much, Dirk. That would be Dirk Bradshaw. I know you hear his voice, but one day you will see his face, I think. All right. Here we go. Dark UFO over Martian surface, observes the rover. All right, there's a little UFO. This is the Martian surface, or so we're told. As far as we know, it can be just a place in Antarctica. We could be being scammed this whole time and they're not up on Mars. Hey, it's not like they haven't tried to scam us in the past, so there is precedent. I've never seen this kind of object on Mars before. The UFO is dark, more so than the surface of a hill, which means it's not part of it. It has a pole line above and below the same, perfectly balanced. This could be the small alien people have been finding are still alive, and this could be one of the craft observing the rover. This is a photo from the Opportunity rover on Mars. Opportunity is still alive, and they update pictures almost daily. Too many anomalies being found by myself and other ufologists to dismiss them as nothing. One day we will be proved right. When you have seen all these things above you, and I have, it changes your perception of all you have been taught. People don't believe you, so I'll keep posting what I find. So one of the things I always find interesting about this is we're told that the Opportunity is live and sending pictures on a daily basis. Daily basis, pictures are being sent by the Opportunity from Mars. Yet down here on Earth, we have trouble sometimes sending pictures from one city to the next with our phones. But they can send things back and forth from Mars daily. Are they really sending things from Mars? I don't know. There's been plenty of Plenty of discrepancies, so maybe they aren't. Maybe they're down here on Earth and we're just being fooled, like the moon landing. I don't know that we went to the moon. I think that it was all staged. Stanley Kubrick is the one said to have filmed the moon landing. There's a lot of information alluding to that. I have some links at the website at firstcontactradio.com. If you look on the right-hand side, you can find those links and see for yourself what you think about that. Here we have a UFO near Nellis Air Force Base, possible tall white alien. Okay, there's our object in question. Right there, you can barely see it. Looks like we got something up there too, unless that's just the mountain. Light on the mountaintop. Alright, it says, when watching the amazing things that happen near this bizarre part of Nellis Air Force Base, I always enjoy the amazing formation these crafts perform. I have to give some things names, and to me these formations resemble a string of hovering and flying pearls. The technology behind all of this must be astonishing, because I have seen these things bunch up into a single ball and then spread out and fly in a tight row. This is just one of the many unbelievable things I have witnessed in this extremely strange location. When someone else tells you our military is 20 or 25 years ahead technologically, you may want to suggest it could be 1,000 years or more. And shots like this prove it. Okay. Now we're going to go over here to Henderson, Nevada. We have another object in the sky. Henderson's not too far from Nellis. This video is captured in the foothills near Henderson, Nevada, which borders Las Vegas, on the night of September 23rd. This is such a reliable spot to capture UFOs. I get the feeling that these UFOs have been doing what they do for a very long time. One of these days I hope to understand what their purpose is and why they are doing it. You can see at least a couple of UFOs in the video, but at the time there can be 6 or more back there. Okay? Very interesting. This is 6 times the normal speed, so you see the blinking a little bit differently. Moving on from there. Next we have a UFO over Canada. Iqaluit, Canada, 21st of September. There's a little object in question right here. Here's one fascinating footage of a fast object maneuvering in the sky above Iqaluit, the largest city and territorial capital of the Canadian territory of Nunavut, which was taken on the 21st of September. Witness says, I was home. My camera caught 2 shots of an object that appears and disappears in frame. I shot the time lapse at 3 seconds apart. It appears in one shot, but it doesn't in the previous or after shots. Okay. Video is 5 minutes, 45 seconds. Links available so you can check it out. Onward. Next story here. Kimki, Russia. Now, this goes back to last month. Sometimes sightings don't always get put up right away. And this is one of those. This is a nice piece here. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. Jaime Maussan talks about this particular sighting over Russia. And see if we can jump over to where the sighting is so you can see that. Okay. I'm just going to leave the link so you can watch the video in its entirety. And one last story here, and this has to do with places in Britain where you can see a UFO. Best locations in the UK. With the supposed end of the world looming close, extraterrestrial activity seems to be creeping up at every corner. UFO sightings are abundant. Alien corpses have been washed up on foreign shores, and skies have opened in the end times in Costa Rica. If you want to get close with an alien action before we all bite the dust on the 20th of September, then here are 7 places you need to visit to spot a UFO. Clay Hill, Warminster. I'm just going to read through these because there's information on each one of these. We have Cannock Chase, Staffordshire. Rendlesham Forest. We know about the Rendlesham incident there. We have Sutton Coldfield, Dudley. Broadhaven, Wales. And Bonnybridge, Scotland. So, since this article says that the end is on the 28th, there might not be enough time to book a flight to get out to England to check out these spots. So if you live out there, you might want to take advantage of that. Is the world going to end on the 28th? I don't think that we're going to end on the 28th. I think there's speculation that there could be some activities then, but there seems to be speculation that there could be activities all the time. Remember, the book of Revelation, the words from Yeshua, tell us that there will be rumors, and there will be rumors, wars, there'll be lies and deceptions, and all these things going on at the end times. So we can't necessarily lock onto a date and saying that's it. We need to look at the time period and all the things that are involved. That's why when we look at information, we connect the dots. And in connecting the dots, we start to see a little bit more of an idea of what's going on and how we deal with that particular situation. And that is our UFO news for today. I'll be back momentarily, and we shall continue on. How about today we do wake up? Here we go.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth. People shouldn't be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of them. 9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing, but they're illusion from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brothers watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
All right, our founding fathers would certainly be turning over in their graves with what's going on in the world today. Certainly not the way that they set it up, right? Okay, so we need to look at a few things here to see what's going on. Again, this section is about connecting the dots. It's about connecting the dots so we can kind of help to understand where we're going, what's happening, and not be caught in a deer in headlights when things really get crazy. Now, how do we know that things are going to get crazy? Because people get crazy. And this is a planet that has people on it. And people respond to the things that take place around them. The more intelligent someone is, the more that their responses are going to be in balance, because they're going to be moving on information that is in balance. The more somebody is out of balance or dumbed down, the more that the activities they do are going to be out of whack. And we see all sorts of spectrum between there. It's sort of like this. Polarity. Okay? Everything's vibrating, but we go back and forth between these poles. You know, if you think about this, if you think about the poles, let's just say we put Democrats on one side and Republicans on the next. We're taught to go back and forth from one pole to the next. We're not taught to walk the middle path. Yet every philosophy of life talks about the middle path, that we need to take that way, because the middle path is the path in balance. If we look at this symbol here, the whole idea is to be balanced. And how do you be balanced? By both sides being equally balanced. You can't have equality if you're only on one side. So when you have, for example, I'm just using the political thing at this moment, when you have politics which say equality lasts when you go to this side of things, well, that's not equality. That's balance to one side of the pole. You can't have equality on this side because that's on the other side. Equality only comes when the right side and the left side are in balance. That's what equality is. And if the right and left aren't in balance, then you don't have equality. You have a false sense of equality. And in this day and age, that's what we're sold. Now, the more intelligent someone is, the more somebody spends time researching, understanding, the more that one is going to be able to find themselves in balance and not get fooled. Because we're in a time where being fooled is something that happens quite often. There's a list at the website, firstcontactradio.com, of 33 times that we Americans have been fooled. And I push this point because to me it's incredible that we've been fooled 33 times. You know, we often say, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. Yeah, we look at being fooled 3 times as something that is quite surprising. But 33 times in America, there has been an event, a false flag event, waged upon the American people in order to take us into war. 33 times after that event occurred, the first initial reaction of Americans and the media was to say, this event is the way that we are told it is. And 33 times, conspiracy theorists, those who have been looking at the situation, said, no, there's something more going on. We're being lied to. 33 times, those who have bought and sold the story, hook, line, and sinker, have told those who have been researching it that they were wrong. History has now shown that 33 times, those skeptics were the ones who were wrong. And the ones who were trying to present the truth were correct. So we were wrong 33 times because we've listened to skeptics. I would say that after being wrong so many times, we might stop listening to the skeptics and the doubters and start thinking and doing things a different way. Because to continuously be fooled over and over and over and over and over and over and over again is simply a sign of insanity. And that's pretty much what we're seeing in life, isn't it? Aren't we seeing that we are in a insane state of life right now? The activities that are taking place just make no sense from one to another. That's because we're living and listening to those who are insane. The skeptics, the doubters, those who are out of balance. We have to stop listening to those. We have to start paying attention. Now, there are those who are trying to silence the voices. The governments are certainly trying to silence the voices. This is a story here over at InfoWars, and it says point blank that Alex Jones has received credible tips from 2 different sources that the FBI, in coordination with the FTC, is planning to raid Infowars.com Central Texas Command Center as possible payback for attacking Obama and the Democrats. And here we have a video, 15-minute video. I'm going to leave that for you to watch. But again, they're trying to censor it. Why? Because you have somebody presenting the truth, presenting information, and the government, who is lying, doesn't want you to know that. They want you to remain silent. They want you to remain stupid, and they want you to remain under their control. But that's not how it is supposed to be. We have another story here that, for some strange reasons, John Boehner has decided to resign from Congress. Speaker John Boehner, under intense pressure from conservatives in his party, will resign one of the most powerful positions in the government and give up his House at the end of October, throwing Congress into chaos as he tries to avert a government shutdown. Mr. Boehner made the announcement in an emotional meeting with his fellow Republicans Friday morning. The Ohio representative struggled from almost the moment he took the Speaker's gavel in 2011 to manage the challenges of divided government and to hold together his fractious and increasingly conservative Republican members. All right, links available for you to read that out. When something like that happens, you have to realize there's something more going on behind the scenes. These people are all, plain Americans. I don't know what the deal is with all of that, but we'll find out. We shall find out. Now, I'm going to jump over to this next story here about CERN. You know what CERN is, right? CERN is the European Nuclear Space, not space, but nuclear agency that is out in Switzerland, and they have a giant device that is built around the city, 17 kilometers, I believe it is, around the city. And what they do is the objective is to see what the universe looked like at the moment of the Big Bang, for the purpose of finding out what is this source that holds everything together. What is this glue that's holding everything together? Whether it's called antimatter, dark matter, God particle, it's all the same. This is what they're all lumping it into. What is holding things together? And so the way they're doing this is they're actually, with this machine, and they're actually sending energies around to collide into each other. And when these energies collide into each other, there's a big bang. They're studying it. Now, there are many who are concerned that these activities are quite dangerous and doing a bit more than just what they say they're doing, that they could be ripping open black holes. There are those concerned that there is an attempt to open up the bottomless pit to allow whatever kind of dark energies out from there, because we are told through the book of Revelation that there is a angel of darkness within the pit, and that angel will be released. There's a lot of weird stuff taking place with CERN. Anyway, here's a video. There's been a lot of people researching this, and what I want to show you, I'm not going to play this video because, well, first of all, it's 5 minutes in length, and I just simply wanted to show you what you just saw, that image right here. And this is an image wondering, did CERN see another dimension today? So here we have, looks like, and I'm no expert on this, but it looks like here we have the collision of energies, and whatever this is right here, is this something that opened up in the fabric? Is this another dimension that's being seen through there? I don't know. I really don't know at all. All I know is what this image is. Watch the video, BP Earthwatch. He does a lot of research on this, so he has some good information here. And these other images you see on here are all readings from the Large Hadron Collider, the data dumps that they do, and there's plenty of eyeballs watching this to see what they're up to over there. This next story here is of an announcement that's going to be coming up by NASA on the 28th. NASA to announce Mars mystery solved. NASA will detail a major science finding from the agency's outgoing exploration of Mars during a news briefing 11:30 a.m. Monday Eastern Time, the 28th, at the James Webb Auditorium at the NASA headquarters in Washington. The event will be broadcast live on NASA and the agency's website. All right, the brief question and answer session will take place during the event with reporters on site. Members of the public can also ask questions during the briefing. So, what is NASA going to reveal? I don't know what they're going to reveal. I guess we'll know when they do the revealing, but that is what is coming up on Monday. So, a lot of things taking place over this course of these next couple days, with the full moon, the moon that's eclipsed, that's a blood moon, it's a supermoon. It's during the time between the Day of Atonement and the festival of Sukkot. We have this Mars announcement. The Pope is just wrapping up a visit here. Lots of interesting things going on in the world. Certainly activity taking place, because remember, fire, water, air, earth. So we have the fire as ideas. We certainly know that ideas affect people and affect how people think. Water, emotions. We know people are affected by their emotions. Words. We know that people are affected by the words that they hear. And finally, the earth, which is a product of the fire, water, and the air. And certainly what happens upon the earth does have some degree of an effect upon the others, though the others play upon the earth and the earth doesn't play upon them. Sometimes the ideas and the thoughts we have come as an effect of the causes from these other things. So everything plays itself out. Again, we go back to this principle of cause and effect. Whatever is caused has an effect. Whatever is affected has a cause, and so on. Okay. Now, the fifth element within this, I call it spirit. Another term for it is Aether. Another is the no thing. Etheric energy, the fifth element, by Owen K. Waters. The legendary fifth element holds the key to the answers of one of today's top mysteries in the world of physics and cosmology. Scientists estimate that 84% of the matter in the universe is composed of invisible dark matter, but they have no idea what it is. With a short venture into the world of metaphysics, you are about to find out the answer. In ancient Greeks, all material things were said to be composed of a mixture of the four elements: earth, fire, water, and air. There was also said to be a more subtle fifth element that was called the quintessence, implying the very delicate or refined state of existence. For many centuries, philosophers considered that all matter consisted of a combination of the basic elements in the Greek tradition. In the early 1500s, Philip von Hohenheim boldly renamed himself Paracelsus, meaning beyond the medical pioneer Celsus, and came out with a counter-proposal. He declared that instead of the old elements, all things consist of the subtle essences of the elements that he called salt, sulfur, and mercury. However, this only served to confuse the situation further, as both theories did little to identify the basic chemicals that combine to form the enormous variety of compounds that are found in nature. Next, fast forward to the Age of Enlightenment in the late 1600s, the early scientist Robert Boyle published The Skeptical Chemist, rejecting both schools of thought in favor of the then novel idea that the materials are composed of a variety of basic chemicals, which, unlike compounds, cannot be further reduced by chemical operations. This demystified the chemistry, laid the basis for its development as a science, and made possible the development of the table of elements that we use in chemistry today. As the science of chemistry developed and accumulated physical knowledge, however, it became more focused entirely on physical materials and ignored the old idea of anything more subtle. The fifth element has been given various names in traditional Eastern thought and practices such as prana, chi, ki, mana. It can be better understood by calling it the vital life energy or the etheric energy. From a physics perspective, the most concise term is etheric energy, which implies a more subtle energy than electric energy. While electric and magnetic energies combine in complementary motion, they produce physical light as well in the building blocks of physical matter. Your body is composed of electromagnetic energy. Etheric energy is actually more common in the universe than electric. Its manifestation, etheric matter, forms most of the matter in the universe. Cosmologists know that it exists even though they can't see it because of its gravitational effect on physical matter in the cosmos. Okay, a lot more to the article. Last sentence says the vital life energy is the essence within sacred healing oils. It is the energy that flows into a person as they practice Gong. It is the life breath in organic foods, in water exposed to sunlight, and in the oxygen that we breathe. Okay, so there you go. That is etheric energy. What we have here is, let's take a listen to this message here from Salusha for today. Here we go.
Salusa.
September 25th, 2015, by Mike Quincy.
Salusa.
Dear ones, what an important and exciting time has arrived, when many of you will be able to feel the upliftment resulting from the incoming level of energies. Those of you who do will know beyond doubt that the changes are beginning to bring about welcome changes. You only have to look around you to see that in the midst of them is evidence of changes for the better. Very soon you will have had even more evidence of them, and it will become quite clear as to the direction that humanity is going in. There will of necessity be a clearing out of the old that no longer serves you, but at the same time the new energies will become established. The Illuminati will make their last attempt to keep on their chosen path, but it will be to no avail, as their power has been seriously curtailed by the galactic forces that surround the Earth. So have no fear, as all is progressing well, but be patient, as all benefits will come in good time. You are in the period of the Great Awakening. You may be sure that every soul that is here at such an important time will benefit in one way or another from their experiences. You have no need to be concerned about their future, as all will proceed as planned and cover everyone's needs. You move forward as a group of souls, with each one playing their part in determining your future prospects. Great changes are on the verge of taking place, and all will quickly bring the new age into being, much to your delight. You have already been given an idea of what lies ahead, and we can assure you that you will not in the least be disappointed. We praise you all for the part you have played through many incarnations, and it does not matter that at times you have taken a negative role as part of your experiences. When you read the Akashic records, you will find that you have had all manner of roles that collectively have enabled you to evolve. There has always been a plan to help as many souls as possible, to reach the point of ascension, and now the benefits are about to be realized. For a long time you have been carefully guided through the many challenges you have had to face, and you have had the wisdom and knowledge of Archangel Michael to help you. There have also been many other souls guiding you, so that your individual needs are catered for. By now all of those who had the potential to rise up, should now have done so and be well on the way to ascension. We tell you again not to worry about your personal progress, as if you have made a genuine attempt to rise up, then you would have undoubtedly succeeded. As we see it, it is not difficult to place your feet firmly on the path that carries you forward to fulfillment. If you feel ready, then you most certainly are, and should have no difficulty in finding the path forward into the light. With the guidance we have given you, we feel that you should now be able to go forwards with confidence, and know for certain that the future is golden. Although it is not yet apparent, you have won the battle with the Dark Ones, who can no longer expect to complete their plan for world domination. They are in array and looking for a way out, whilst still clinging to the hope that they can still find a path to success. Be assured that they will not recover from the setbacks they have experienced. However, as they have shown in the past, they find it difficult to accept defeat. Meantime, the forces of light grow stronger and forge ahead with their plan for the complete return of the light. Some of you are already sensing a greater awareness and understanding of what is taking place, and it shall grow even further as the obstacles placed in your way are removed. The changes continue to grow, and at a faster rate than earlier, and so it will continue all the way to ascension. Meantime, you should be watchful of the news for indications of changes that are about to be announced, but there will be attempts to prevent them that may delay matters. However, any delay will only be short, as the Dark Ones no longer have the power or connections to dictate matters. They are the victims of their own plan to imprison others that have backfired on them. With their greed and arrogance, they have never contemplated failure, but are now confused and unable to control events as they have done in the past. So we can all concentrate on the coming changes and help in many ways to make them completely successful. Some of you who are more sensitive than others will possibly feel a little lightheaded as the higher energies impact upon you. This condition will soon pass as you get used to them, but in general terms people will feel uplifted in a number of different ways, and so it shall continue. If you have no feeling of change within yourself, do not worry as they affect people in different ways. Simply keep calm and remember that you attract the energy to yourself through the law of attraction. So you are entering an eventful period when many things will happen, often in quick succession. However, do not be dismayed if some are concealed from you, as there are still ones who would keep you in the dark if they could. For our part, we will enlighten you when it is appropriate to do so. As far as possible, we would like to see a smooth transition from the old ways, but that may not be possible until the Dark Ones are out of the way. We would like to add a few comments about group souls, and using birds as an example, we'll mention that they evolve. When you rise up, you will find them gifted with more beauty, and like flowers they will respond more openly to the energies of the ascended human. Colors will be more vivid and pronounced, and songbirds will have delightful songs to sing. What will be most noticeable is the cleanliness and newness of everything. Animals that you now consider wild, will become tame, and will no longer be aggressive or carnivores. Domesticated animals such as horses will respond in a more intelligent manner, and be able to converse with man through the power of thought. In time this will also apply to your pet dogs and cats that shall remain with you, as it is only the wild species that merge into a group soul. I am Salusa from Sirius, and waiting as you are to see and enjoy the changes that are waiting in the wings. All comes in good time and of course what we call the right time. So do not despair if something dear to your heart does not occur, as the delay may only be due to circumstances at that time. Also know that every soul will be in the right place for them by the time ascension takes place. Stay calm regardless of what you encounter during this last period of the old energies. It will be a testing time in some ways, but in the long term all will settle down and great joy will be experienced. You have earned your place in history having successfully gone through great periods of darkness. Yet you have overcome the attempts to ensnare you and prevent your ascension, and done it with grace and determination. We say well done and enjoy the fruits of your labors that are still to come.
Thank you, Salusa.
All right, very good message. This message reminds us, as the other ones do, about the change that is upon us. Great change that is upon us. So remember, everything's fluid. Again, we're going to go back. I'm going to go back here to everything vibrates. Everything vibrates. So if everything's vibrating and moving to some degree or another, we may not always see it, but everything's vibrate. Everything is fluid. That's why we can't always pinpoint a specific date, because things change. As people change, their energy is affecting everything that's going on, the decisions and so on. So as more people wake up, as more people are putting positivity into the mix, things change for the better for everybody. And those who are causing problems, they have less effect because there are more. It's like the truth becoming known. And once the truth is known, then we're able to counteract what's going on out there, all the lies and what have you. So people need to wake up, you know. Some people are still caught up in the lies. They turn on the mainstream news and they believe everything that they're told. And that's what makes things so challenging, because the stories that they're telling aren't truthful. They've been given the ability to lie legally through the NDAA. The Council on Foreign Relations has been working to keep news the way it is. As we watch, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about anything other than what we're all aware of. So we just have to keep on the course, keep sending the positivity, keep being the warriors of light that are making the positive changes in the world. And one by one, lights will turn on in everyone, and change will occur. This is page 115 of The Warrior of the Light. The Warrior of Light has learned that God uses solitude to teach us how to live with other people. He uses rage to show us the infinite value of peace. He uses boredom to underline the importance of adventure and spontaneity. God uses silence to teach us the words of responsibility. He uses tiredness so that we can understand the value of waking up. He uses illness to underline the blessing of good health. God uses fire to teach us about water. He uses earth so that we can understand the value of air. He uses death to show us the importance of life. Very, very good message there. And last, our meditation. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, exhale again. And just breathe and just imagine within each breath, we have the fire, the water, and the air. And of course, spirit, ether, the no thing. And as you breathe, feel all of these different qualities that make up the breath. Feel the fire within it. Fire has its own quality. Fire is ideas. So feel these ideas within the breath. Feel the water within the breath. Water is the emotions, the feelings. Think about Star Wars when Obi-Wan told Luke to stretch out with his feelings. To feel the emotions within this breath that flows through you. And then feel the air within this breath as well. The air are the ideas, the words, the activities. So feel what those are. Feel the air. And now contemplate how your physical being, the earth of who you are, is affected by the fire, the water, and the air, by the ideas, the emotions, and the words. Feel the spirit that flows through the fire, the water, the air, and the earth. And as we move through life and you move along your path and you feel all of these very subtle vibrations, you understand the importance of connecting with these other elements and rising above the earth. For in this experience of the fire, the water, and the air, we understand that the earth is simply a byproduct of all of these and not the other way around. We understand that if we want to affect a change in the physical world, we simply go to the fire, the ideas, change our ideas. We go to the water, the emotions, we change our emotions. We go to the air, the words, we change the words that we speak and the activities that we do. And in this, we find ourselves able to affect the change upon the physical world, the earthly world. And we do so according to the recipes that the universe provides. So let's just imagine ourselves going out into the world now, this weekend, just experiencing the energies, because there are many energies that will be expressing themselves around us. Energies of the season, of change, energies of the moon, the full moon, the supermoon, the blood moon, energies of change that come with this fourth blood moon that has been progressing over time, with the eclipse that is upon us, and the many other ways of change. So just simply be open to feeling all of these subtle energies that are making the changes in our lives. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey, and let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is it. We've made it through the week. We've gone through all of these various activities that are taking place upon us. There is great change. We can see it expressed in the physical world. You've seen the activities through the news stories of how the powers that be are trying to control what is going on. But then we also see the stories of how God is maintaining the control. And humans, well, they just think they're in charge, but they're not. It's all one great show. So just enjoy the ride, enjoy the show. Know that change is upon us for the positive, for the better. All we have to do is keep thinking of all the positive things that go on with this change. Keep letting go of the darkness and the things that are holding us back. And most importantly, forgive ourselves and forgive others. And as we do that, we find ourselves free to move through the world in a much more effective manner. And that's it. So I'll be back next week. Have an awesome weekend. Enjoy the full moon. Enjoy the blood moon. Enjoy all that is going on. I love you. Keep loving each other. And I'll talk to you next week. Peace. I'm out of here.